There are still 5 races left in the 2022 Formula 1 season, but the championship is basically over already with Verstappen's 100+ point lead over the rest of the grid. But the real headlines are coming from the 2022 going into 2023 driver market. There are still 4 seats up to grab heading into 2023 with multiple drivers linked to each seat. And in today's video, I will be sharing you guys all my thoughts who I think will be driving for those 4 teams going into next season. My name is Chris, welcome back to CFRacing and enjoy the video. Hey everybody, what's going on? Chris here, otherwise known as CFRacing, and today everybody, like I said in the intro to today's video, I'm going to be going over the 2023 driver lineups. In my opinion, I did make a video about this a couple months ago, and I really was not very bold in my driver lineup predictions, and I pretty much just made like one change, and that was Logan Sargent to Williams, which I kind of still stand by, which is actually pretty cool. But I did not predict that Sebastian Vettel was going to retire. I did not predict that Fernando Alonso was going to go over to Aston Martin. Certainly did not predict that Oscar Piastri was going to go into McLaren to drive for them, and then Daniel Ricciardo would be left without a seat. So I'm going to redo these predictions now with all the knowledge that we have in 2022, going into 2023, and do my new driver predictions. But first, I want to give a huge shout out to Formula Tiger and Night Crystal for sending super thankses in the most recent simulation video. That is the Hyundai simulation. Also want to give a huge shout out to all the members on the channel. You guys are awesome, and if you guys want to become a member, just hit that join button on my channel page. It'll be greatly appreciated, and you get some really cool perks. So yeah, stay tuned for that. Also want to say, if you guys are new here and you enjoy the content like this, hit that like button, subscribe, share with your friends, join my Discord, link is in the description. Also check out my Twitch, there should be a link in the description if you guys want to follow that. It's brand new. Hopefully I'll be doing race reactions down there. And now with that being said, let's take a look at all the teams who have confirmed drivers for 2023 so far. The first team I want to talk about is Alfa Romeo, and they're one of the 6 teams already that have a confirmed driver lineup for 2023, and these 2 drivers are Valtteri Bottas and Zhou Guanyu, as you guys can see on the screen right now. Both drivers are having pretty solid 2022 seasons, to say the least. Zhou Guanyu recently has been performing very well, and he's actually been beating Bottas in a lot of the qualifying sessions recently. And now that the Alfa Romeo car isn't one of the cars that can really score points, you really see Bottas and Zhou kind of leveling out, which kind of sucks, because if Zhou was doing this good at the beginning of the year, he probably could be up there with Bottas, and Bottas wouldn't have like 40 more points than him. But other than that, he's been quite unlucky as well. Bottas has been kind of solid as of late. He's been very unlucky, a lot of retirements and engine failures, which you really can't predict. But overall, looks like a pretty solid driver lineup for Alfa Romeo, so I see no reason to change that heading into 2023. The next team with a confirmed driver lineup is one of the teams that I'm very excited to see going into next year, and this is Aston Martin. Sebastian Vettel is retiring at the end of the 2023 season, which sucks. We all love Sebastian Vettel, and we all want to see him continue racing pretty much till the end of time. He's a great guy. But this is a big upgrade, in my opinion, for Aston Martin, as they're going to be getting Fernando Alonso to partner Lance Stroll. So, you know, it's going to be cool to see Fernando Alonso absolutely destroy him next season, which I think it'll be kind of fun to see, and we'll see really how good that Aston Martin car is. They did just have a very good race in Singapore to put them, I believe, up to P7 in the constructor standings, but they're still nowhere near the cars above them like Alfa Romeo and the rest of the other guys. So a driver lineup of Fernando Alonso and Lance Stroll will definitely be a good driver lineup next year, and just honestly, just stay tuned for them, because I think they can maybe even challenge Alpine, who knows. The third confirmed driver lineup for today's video is going to be my favorite team, Ferrari. They still have Charles Leclerc and Carlos Sainz going into 2023, and as we all know, it is one of, if not the best driver lineups going into the season, or even just in general in Formula 1. Leclerc is a generational talent. He's on par with George Russell, Lewis Hamilton, Verstappen, Norris, those top echelon Formula 1 drivers. You put Leclerc up there, he's definitely one of the best, or if not the best, on a Saturday in Formula 1. Maybe Sundays can get ironed out a little bit, but still good to see him up there, and great to see Carlos Sainz still back with the team. I believe he's going to be for us with 2 more years or 1 more year. I don't really remember the contract details, but you know, another full season of Leclerc and Sainz will not hurt anybody, so that's a good driver lineup for Ferrari for next season. The The next driver lineup that is confirmed going into 2023 is the McLaren duo of Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri. I am so excited to watch both of these guys race together next season, and honestly, I'm kind of happy that Daniel Ricciardo isn't going to be in McLaren this year. If Daniel Ricciardo was performing even half as good as Lando Norris was in 2022, McLaren would be clear of the rest of the grid. They'd have an easy 4th place, which I predicted, gotta say, let's go. Probably one of my few predictions that I actually got right this year. But still, if Oscar Piastri can just do even slightly better than Ricciardo, then it'll already be an upgrade for McLaren. And with Lando Norris absolutely dominating and just being the best of the rest in the midfield right now, I would not be surprised seeing McLaren even jump up to 3rd, maybe even 2nd next year with this driver lineup. But then again, Oscar Piastri will be a rookie, so you got to stay. There will probably be some growing pains for Oscar Piastri as he is going to be a rookie, but I think he'll iron it out as he did dominate in F4, F3, and F2 in 3 consecutive seasons. Another top team with another top driver pairing. This is Mercedes, and they are arguably the best driver lineup on the grid, with Lewis Hamilton, as we all know, the most decorated Formula 1 driver of all time, and his partner is George Russell, who is actually beating him this year. This driver lineup is probably going to be a driver lineup for the next 2, maybe 3 years, depending on how long Lewis Hamilton stays, and if George Russell can just even come close to what we expect them to be, then yeah, I think this driver lineup could probably be the best on the grid going into 2023. There's really nothing else to say. It's a great driver lineup. The last confirmed driver lineup heading into 2023 is going to be the Red Bull duo of Max Verstappen and Sergio Perez. And to me, as a complete driver pairing, they are not the best, but as a duo that can help a team and a driver win the championship, they are the best, because Perez is never going to challenge Max Verstappen for a world title unless it's all street tracks for a whole season. But all in all, Red Bull develops that car towards Max Verstappen, and as you can see, he is absolutely dominating with that car, as he is miles ahead of everybody else in the driver standings. And you have Perez, he's still in 3rd in the driver standings, so it's not like the car is even that bad for him as well. They have a great combination of a godlike driver like Verstappen and a very consistent, reliable driver of Sergio Perez, who makes one of the best combinations we've probably ever seen in Formula 1. So now here is where we really start to make changes, and as you can see, and I have Nick De Vries getting partnered alongside Yuki Tsunoda at Scuderia AlphaTauri for the 2023 season. And this is because I believe Gasly is going somewhere else, and I think other people are going to go sign with other teams. Yuki Tsunoda, he is sort of a reliable pair of hands. He's not the best driver in the world. He still has to iron out those mistakes. And we really see in Formula 2 that there's really no Red Bull Junior talent that's even close to making it into Formula 1. Yeah, there's Lawson, there's Vips, there's Deruvula, there's Hauger. I think Hauger's probably the best prospect out of them all, but none of them are even in the top 5 this season, or maybe just on the brink of top 5 in F2. So I don't see any of them getting promoted to AlphaTauri. We know that Colton Herta or any of the IndyCar drivers cannot get a super license for 2023. So the next best option, in my opinion, besides keeping Pierre Gasly, is going to be going for Nick De Vries, and that's why I think he will go to AlphaTauri for 2023. He is a very, very talented driver, as we saw in Monza, and that's only going to raise his stock heading into next season. And I think he's finally going to get that seat landed to him. It will be kind of awkward as he is a Mercedes sort of, not junior driver, but he's part of their family or whatever, and if he goes to AlphaTauri, it will be kind of weird, but I think he will suit so well in the AlphaTauri outfit, and that's why I think he'll join them next season. So with Pierre Gasly not signing with AlphaTauri, that has to have him going somewhere else, and to me, I see Pierre Gasly going to Alpine. This is kind of a far stretch, but also could also be very positive and could be very possible as well, as Alpine wants French drivers, and they have one with Esteban Ocon, but they could have another French driver in Pierre Gasly. And honestly, if these two guys didn't hate each other, I could already see this being a driver lineup that was already made years ago, but since they do have some beef back in the past, maybe that's probably why they didn't go for maybe Gasly in some other years. They went for, I guess, Alonso or some other guys instead. But this driver lineup could be very spicy heading into next season. And if they're both professional enough to put their past behind them and drive for Alpine, they could be very good next year. So I think Gasly's a very talented driver. We know he has the win. I would assume Ocon would be the team leader to start, but maybe, I don't know. I think they'd be quite even in terms of performance, but who knows? I really don't know who would be the #1 driver in that team. Like I said, maybe to start it would be Ocon, but then Pierre Gasly would come in, and he would definitely give Ocon a run for his money as well. So this is a very safe, reliable pair of hands, a very young with very high potential talent drivers in a team as well. So I think it is a great fit to have Ocon and Pierre Gasly driving for Alpine for 2023. The next driver lineup I have is something that I want to happen so badly. And no, I do not want to see Mick Schumacher get dropped. But if we can have a driver lineup of Kevin Magnussen and Nico Hülkenberg driving for a Haas in 2023, that I think would be amazing. We know we get the ultimate suck my balls moment or whatever. Now they're a team together, and I think Hülkenberg, or one of the two, Hülkenberg or Magnussen, said they would put that, in the rearview mirror, and I'm sure Gunther Steiner will have some laughs about that as well. We know Kevin Magnussen, great driver, great pair of hands to have in a team. And there's also the ultimate super sub, Nico Hülkenberg. If he gets into Formula 1 this year, I think this will probably be his last hurrah. Probably going to retire maybe at the end of the season, or if he continues for another year or a couple too. And we know he's a very good driver as well, and he still needs to get that podium, and we're all rooting for Nico Hülkenberg to get that podium. So maybe with Haas he can do it. I don't know if he'll have the car for it, but to get a podium you got to be in Formula 1, and to be in Formula 1 I think his best shot is with Haas. So I would love to see Kevin Magnussen and Nico Hülkenberg be a combination at Haas for 2023. And the last driver pairing for 2023 is the Williams pairing, and this was the hardest one to decide for, and it was really between Logan Sargeant and Nick De Vries, but I have De Vries going to AlphaTauri, so I was like, you know what? Let's just put Logan Sargeant in a Williams and stick with my original prediction for 2023. And honestly, guys, I really, at the beginning of the year, was not very high on Logan Sargeant going to Williams, but I did need to make some sort of driver lineup because I thought Latifi was going to get dropped at the end of the season. And Logan Sargeant, I guess, has really proved me right. He still needs to finish in the top 5, I believe, to get the super license, but I think he's going to do that. He has a pretty good points. He's got a pretty good points cushion in F2 right now. I believe he's 3rd in the standings behind, Dragovic, who won the title, and then Teo Pourchaire, and I believe Sargeant is right there. If he can just have one more solid week, or 1 or 2 more solid weeks, I think is left in Formula 1, then he can definitely join Williams next year, and I think he could be the future for that team alongside Alexander Albon, and I think they'd just be very good alongside each other. So that's why I think Logan Sargeant will be in Williams. I don't really think it'll be Latifi. I don't think it'll be Mick Schumacher, though a Schumacher name in a Williams would be quite interesting to think about now that I mentioned it live, whatever. But yeah, I have Logan Sargeant heading to Williams for 2023. So guys, that is going to wrap it up for today's video. If you guys did enjoy and you do agree with my picks heading into 2023, let me know in the comment section down below. And also, just even if you think I'm wrong and stupid or whatever, let me know what you guys think all the driver lineups, or even just the 4 teams, are going to be. We got Williams, we got I believe it's Alpine, AlphaTauri, and Haas. Those are the 4 that don't have seats yet. As we know, like I said, I dropped Latifi, even Daniel Ricciardo, and I dropped Mick Schumacher. Put in 3 more drivers. We got Sargeant, De Vries, and Nico Hülkenberg. So let me know what you guys think. If you did enjoy, like I said, hit the like button, subscribe, share with your friends, join the Discord. Link is in the description down below. And with that being said, everybody, see you guys next time.